Well, hello, that's me again. Today is September 28th, and boy, each time I want to do something fundamental, something truly educational, I'll say in Russian history or operations or military science in general, then bang, something happens. And not that you need my comments on that, because everybody who is anybody in this world already commented on that, but obviously I'm talking about the basically sabotage, which are diversions and terrorism on the Nord Stream pipelines in three different places, I think, and we can already see yourself this famous tweet now by Mr. Radek Sikorsky, the husband of Miss Applebaum, who is the neocon's neocon, and obviously they're all connected to the Kagan clan, and he's talking about that and thanking basically the United States for sabotaging the three pipelines. Two or three, or it's doesn't really matter. I mean, it's gonna be eclipsed very soon by something else altogether. So, but truth is, Nord Stream 2 is a goner, so is Nord Stream 1, and let me get back a little bit and do a little bit of self-praise. Not that I am really the guy who figured this out. I basically, anybody who had a half brain, actually, even 5-6 years ago, were telling that basically the whole situation with Europe and European Union and its energy is nothing more than United States basically priming them or prepping them as pedophile preps or primes the many of the boys or girls, underage children, is to be eaten, to be abused. And I love the internet for specifically this reason, because I will give you just most recent things I was writing about. For example, this is a year and a half ago. And this was the time when Frau Merkel was still around, and look what I wrote. And yeah, obviously it was a sarcastic title that even she gets it. And here it is. It was really a bad idea to admit to Europeans that they were being held merely as a meal ready to eat, MRE, by the United States, which called them still partners and allies. And what you see highlighted in yellow, the main course is Germany, because once it is eaten, the rest of Europe will follow. And truth is, Germans did really good job of eating themselves, but here is another thing. This one is 2.5 years ago, and here's what I referred to as Atlantic Partnership. I said it many times, for the United States, Europe is just a market. The lunch to be eaten to extend the life of a buckling empire. The EU better get used to itself as being nothing but a consumable. And consumable it is, and what can I say in this particular case, guys? I mean, people warned about it for years now. And fact is, already after the 2008, and the more, so to speak, the process of the final financialization, which means the selling out of the American assets, proceeded and accelerated, the more it was becoming clear that empire becomes desperate. Then, of course, you get this factor of empires proxies having their assets handed to them by Russia, be that in Georgia, be that in pacifying actually by the mid-2000s of the basically inflaming or flaming datum, or if you wish, the space in the or southern Caucasus, with Russia basically closing most of the activity of the international terrorist organizations there, which of course you had there basically West behind that. Then you have obviously Syria, you have Crimea, and now you have Ukraine. And while people who obviously, there are many trolls, there are many all those, FUD guys, fear, uncertainty, doubt, spreading bullshit around everywhere, on every resource. While many people love to talk about this Kharkov thing, or like now they invented the other thing, there's a Liman, and obviously the Liman is, nothing tactically, and the Russians still hold Liman and probably will continue. If need be, they will retreat, but that's not the point. The point is they take up this tactical minutia and try to basically cover up the larger picture. Basically, it's a fig leaf, obviously, but again, look at the news. Look at the news which we have for the last week. Russia just basically returned home a huge swath of territory with more than 5.5 million people. The referenda are over in what used to be now former Ukraine, parts of Ukraine, and basically the sabotage of the basically Nord Stream is primarily response to that, and it's the thing which actually, that's what trolls and all kinds of the psyop subjects, so to speak, do. They try to project, and if you think so that this is not a desperation on western part or west's part, well, you better wake up, or I have a huge bridge to sell you, because obviously it is a defeat of the major scale. And then, of course, we have the situation developing with Russia's partial mobilization, and eventually new reserves and new military district popping up there, and, whatever happens after that. Again, I'm not Cassandra here. I don't do bullshit. If I don't know, I don't know. Do I know what Russians will do after that? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that with certain degree of probability, which is a respectable degree, I don't know, 65%, 72 and a half, we can say that, Nikolaev and Odessa are next. Kharkov strategically absolutely is unimportant at this stage, but we'll see. And so this whole sabotage, which anybody who has a half brain knows that it is West behind it, has been conducted in response to a referenda, and obviously the major geopolitical defeat for the West, which they cannot hide. And it's just the start. The defeats will continue. They will continue in different forms, shapes, if you wish, in different categories, but they will continue, because at this stage, when you have the state basically resorting itself, even under the auspices, so to speak, of the deniability, and, that United States had nothing to do with this, and obviously they accused Russia. That we may say that we cannot discount, obviously, such organization as, pardon me, as Greenpeace, whose case is being now reviewed by Duma, and finally declaring it the foreign agent. And we know that Greenpeace is a globalist front for a number of the intel services in the West, and this is essentially environmental terrorist organization. And here comes this, so to speak, technological issue. For people who do not understand what it means to blow up the pipe, especially the pipe which is on the very moderate depth, something like, I don't remember, 72 meters, 75 meters, so around 100 meters, I mean max. Those pipes, you don't have to have very much in terms of explosive, and you don't have to have super duper pooper technology when people begin to use their arguments that, which are probably justifiable, and most likely they have something to do with it, with the situation with the pipelines. When we talk about the USS Kearsarge and helicopters, basically from this amphibious assault ship doing some strange routines around those pipelines. The issue is that basically any remote underwater vehicle, which is basically a drone, a remotely controlled drone, can deliver the package and stick it to the at this pipe, and then could be detonated at the preset time. And this could be done, my dear friends, not only just by some advanced super duper technology, which only military has. You can get those drones, so to speak, or those remotely controlled underwater vehicles capable of doing this nowadays practically, in any country the size of Netherlands or Norway, you might have it. Obviously, we can, judging by the reaction of Mr. Sikorsky, and by Poland, which has now the gas pipe operating from Norway, which was accidentally declared open precisely the same day or the day before those explosions happened. So I mean, anything could be used there, and it's not something super duper. How much explosives do you need to blow up the pipe, which is already under this serious pressure inside? You don't have to have much, really. How many? 5, 10 kilograms of the explosives, and proper, shape of the explosive, stick it on the pipe there by whatever means, magnet or what have you, and yeah, guess what? Then you explode it, die. That's it. And this is nothing super duper serious. Could it be the submarine and those, deep divers? I don't know. Why do you need them? Again, guys, look at this today, and I want what the technology does, and this is what why I call this whole situation today mixed bag, because what's to discuss? United States is desperate, and we know that it is desperate. We know what is happening economically, and and of course we know that the midterms are coming. At least some kind of thing needs to be done, and there are people indeed who still believe that, and I wrote about this for years, many years actually, that somehow squeezing and killing Germany's economy, which, let me put it this way, is highly overrated in every single respect, would somehow bring United States the benefits in terms of getting this technological and financial onshore from European Union in terms of corporations and companies who are trying to escape their incredibly high and absolutely unaffordable energy prices, which will be, of course, also spurred by this cutting Russia and Europe, cutting themselves from each other in terms of Russia's energy. But again, as my friend Dmitry correctly stated, but then again, it's a known fact, all this German economic miracle and its basically oriented economy is based on a very simple thing. For the last many years, from 70s, guys, it was based on Russia's or the Soviet Union energy. That's the only thing which was driving them. Germany by nature itself, by the way it's wound, not to mention the fact that it's being killed as we speak. And again, I'm talking about killed, literally killed. The German economy will be devastated completely. And apart from those grooms and those globalists and nut jobs driven by WEF and Mr. Schwab, so you have the situation that Germany cannot really exist as it existed before anyhow. And again, there's a lot of overrating, so to speak, of the German economy. And if you look at the table which I presented probably half a year ago, maybe 5 months, you will see yourself that actually German economy is not that large. Many people still cannot grasp the fact that Russian economy is much larger than German economy, and it produces pretty much everything she needs, unlike Germany. Again, look attentively. Does Germany has real, independent, completely self-sustained airspace industry? No! Germany doesn't have it. Yes, Germany produces some turbines. Well, guess what? Russia now produces some turbines. And when you look at this, it's like, yeah, Germany goes down. The other countries are much smaller. They are going down too. But that's not going to provide this desirable and, fantasy onshore flow for the United States, because people who planned it while being, in general, and I repeat it ad nauseam now, in general being correct that, hey, this could create the conditions that indeed European economy will start to escape to the United States, thus saving United States economy, actually it's not going to come true. And as Dmitry Orlov, I already mentioned, he correctly stated, most of the capital, European capital, as he stated already, is bound in the issues of the real estate, so to speak. It's the industrial plant. That's all those buildings, technologies, which you cannot simply disassemble and ship over to the United States. Nor can you ship there the labor force, which United States has the serious issue for the last 15-20 years with the decreasing quality. Now it is a precipitous decrease quality of the labor force. You have literally people who, as I already stated, who do not want to work on the manufacturing floor. And when you put this together, then yeah, it's basically all waste of energy by the United States, just basically, painting itself as a terrorist state, nothing that new really in here, and blowing up whoever did it, under what auspices, under what connections, so to speak. It doesn't matter. People who have as already stated, half brain, they know who did it. And in this particular case, all those details, or what it's called tactical minutia, doesn't change the principle of things. And that's what many people do not understand. Now, because the reason I called it also the mixed bag, I want to also point out to this and kind of kill it from the get-go, because I'm so sick and tired basically talking about it, because I need to address it once and for all. Just leave me alone with this. First, people have to understand what technologically Russia is. And many don't. In fact, its majority don't, including people from the State Department or even CIA. And obviously in the White House, they have no clue what is this about. And obviously in US media, cannot be removed any further from grasping what is going on, because they're basically much of morons. And when you listen to those, so to speak, experts, and I will talk about those experts more as time goes on and passes by. But here it is. Drones or unmanned aerial vehicles. Let me show you. Yesterday, on the 27th, the Ministry of Russian Defense stated that majority of domestically made UAVs do not satisfy the requirements of the Ministry of Defense. And the representative of the Ministry of Defense, Colonel Igor Ishuk, spoke about it in the basically in the what is called round table, which was held in the Russian Duma. But again, immediately you have those guys, from the psyops and what have you, or simply just completely acting out of the free will, saying, you see, you know what, yeah, that's what it is. Russia doesn't have UAVs and it needs to buy it, the same as Russia is buying, as we heard, 500,000 something from North Korea, which have been debunked already, and about these UAVs from Iran, which have been debunked non-stop by Kremlin. And let me explain something. First, you have to understand that requirements and what is actually have as a product are not the same thing. And for those people who know Ministry of Defense of Russia or Soviet Union, and believe me, I have some grasp, let's put it this way, of that, you have to understand that not meeting the requirements doesn't mean that you do not produce things. And the Russians actually, especially Ministry of Defense, are primarily concentrated on the high-end, what is called electronic countermeasure drones. But this issue that Russia produces its own drones, and she doesn't really need anybody to, provide her with any kind of serious drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, could easily be brought up to light, so to speak, by. Yet again, make no mistake, it happens periodically now, because even Peskov stated that basically State Department, CIA, and American media throw this shit on the fan and pretend that this is true. Here's the Mister of the Federal Service of the Military Technical Cooperation. I mean, the main honcho, big honcho, the guy who runs one of the guys who runs the military-industrial complex contract, he says that Russia has no problems with UAVs, and they are the best which we have. And he again explained, yet again, and I can continue to show you this non-stop, that nobody buys anything from Iran. And the question is, there are different kinds, obviously, of the UAVs. Iran cannot sell Russia high-end UAVs because Iran doesn't have developed electronics industry. Russia does. And when people say that, oh yeah, they created this whatever, the drone, and Russia buys it, and like, really, people, do you understand the difference between high-end unmanned aerial vehicles, Then there are medium range intel, recon, and targeting, providing vehicles, something like Russia has plenty of it. And we're talking about something which is known as COTS, COTS, commercial off the shelf. Those things are not really that secret. You get all kinds of their parts from all over the world, stick to it, and they fly and do their job, But if you look attentively at the news, and I already presented it once, here let me remind you something, because it's becoming ridiculous. People evidently just lose their memory, they immediately gain the attention span of their aquarium fish, and they ignore things like this. Let me show you something. This is Army technology, and look at this. It's Zala KYB strike drone Russia. It is known as loitering munition, and as you can see yourself, Army technology describes it. You can go you basically look it up, and but you will recognize suddenly that this Zala, which is being in serial production since 2018 and have been very successfully tested in Syria and elsewhere, Russians created, And when people say, oh, there is a Giran, the Giran is the name of the plant, basically, drone which Russia buys from Iran. And those Iranian drones look exactly like Zala drones. But can you imagine to explain it to anybody who continue to bullshit and throw this crap around about Russia buying shit from Iran, that guys, Russia was producing drones, and if you look at the issue, and if you look at the history of the development, once you go pass by the Russia initially buying in 2000s some drones from Israel, Russia had been in it longer than Iran was. And Russia produces it on a much larger scale than Iran. But you know what, they look at some piece of equipment which is loitering munition and say, oh my God, this is Iranian drone. Well, you know what? Before Iranian drone issue, basically a rumor or myth started to circulate, with Iran recently as late as 3 days ago, I believe, again telling that Iran is against selling weapons to anybody. Buying they will do. But again, I don't know how to react on this. People don't even understand that what it takes for anybody, and this is your first step into what is called OSINT, open source intelligence, is go to the goddamn internet and dial or whatever, type in Google or what have you, Yahoo, Go, Duck, whatever the name of those browsers, and look at the history of Russian unmanned aerial vehicles. And also, you also have to remember that COTS, commercial off the shelf, is basically exists also in the United States. Well, guess what it is? United States also uses Chinese and other parts, electronics, including all over the place. For example, if you will look at the development of the littoral combat ships, they were conceived as the COTS, as the commercial off the shelf, which all those units or basically containers, which had basically things which you could have bought at that time in Radio Shack or probably Walmart. But it's difficult to explain to people that they don't understand absolutely what they are talking about. And so when they read some news, they don't understand the nature of what is this all about. But, well, then, you know what, let me, without being too much of a humble guy here, tell you that that's when I come in. My task is not to do a hasbara. My task is to explain. That is why I basically do what I do. I educate. I always educated people. I trained them all my life, including actually being a military person. So, and this is the issue of the those UAVs, because it's becoming just nauseating, really. It's beaten to death crap. And yeah, all those political Washington Post, New York Times, State Department, or so-called intelligence intelligence specialist like this lady. The amount of makeup on her is just absolutely amazing, and she's very known in. She used to be the State Department spokeswoman Morton Ortagus. For some reason, she's considered to be beautiful. I don't find it to be that attractive, but hey. She passes it, and I wrote about her. If you go to my blog, and I wrote about this lady. Obviously, she has zero background in anything. However, if you look attentively, and Russians are really good at this, tracking all kinds of those spokespeople from the United States, they actually wrote here that she is actually at that time, she is active officer of the naval intelligence, actually. So, and well, she was also intelligence in the Ministry of the Finances of the United States. And it was Trump who chose her, but obviously when you look at her education and her experiences, she's basically the same spreader of rumors. And like Rebecca Koffler, she has zero understanding of the subject of Russia. But yes, those people are being invited all over the place, and they continue to deliver all this crap about Russia, about those rumors, for example, as I already stated, and you know, be that North Korean selling to Russia whatever ammunition, then of course Iranian drones and this and that, all this designed for only one thing: spread, you know, sprinkle, or well, basically blow dust or tactical minutia into your face to completely lose the bigger picture, larger picture. And the larger picture today, I'm sorry guys, the referenda are done. Next week Vladimir Putin will officially accept those regions to Russian Federation, and no matter what Mr. Blinken says or whatever Mr. Biden says, the special military operation will turn slowly and surely into the counter-terrorist operation, including the possibility defined by Russian constitution and laws on the use of the armed forces extraterritorially. And that means, of course, Ukraine. Again, people have to understand that in this case, in a few days, Ukraine will have basically be de facto and de jure actually declaring war on Russia. And you know what Russians do with those who declare war on them. And this is what I wanted to talk about today, because that's why I called it mixed bag. And I understand you, many of you, they do wait from me, you know, some input. And guys, I try my best. And remarkably, I was preparing the video about the Russian culture and Russian literature, actually, when, you know, those Nord Stream pipelines have been blown, and the world kind of moved closer to, no, not necessarily nuclear war, please, let's not panic, you know, prematurely, so to speak, but probably to even more kind of accelerated decline of the West, which is precipitous now. And this level of desperation is the reason which I needed to make video today, basically off the cuff, on the run, and this is what I needed to tell you today. So that's my speech for you guys today, and those, as always, who can afford, please support me on Patreon, and of course subscribe to my channel. And I will be talking to you guys later. Have a nice rest of the week. Bye bye.